So besides the people and the culture of HBCUs, my favorite part is definitely the band. So let's jump right in. Ruben, Kim, thank you guys for joining me. Eugene, thank you for joining us as well. So let's just talk about the history of bands at HBCUs.
I think Eugene.
Are you talking? I can barely hear you.
He said he's barely
Yeah, he said he can barely hear me.
And that's a question for Eugene.
Yes.
Yeah, I wonder if I can stick and put him behind you. Okay, talk to Eugene.
Eugene, can you hear me now?
I can hear you better. Yes.
Okay, perfect. Let's talk about the history of bands at HBCUs.
Oh, the history of bands at HBCUs. Well, I mean, I guess it's complicated in some ways, but in other ways, a lot of it, well, most of it has started from the Big Ten Conference, like schools like Michigan State, University of Michigan, Purdue, schools who still kind of do the high step style. So a lot of HBCU directors, well, some HBCU directors went there and moved that style down south to the HBCUs they taught. In particular, one Dr. Foster, who was the band director, longtime band director at Florida A&M, was the one who really brought the style to HBCUs and kind of made it what it is today, the pageantry of it all, the plan to the crowd and things like that. So a lot of that is due to Dr. Foster's doing.
Wow. And that is definitely a sight to see. I remember watching that as a child at high steps and like, oh my gosh, their knees are going to hit their shoulders. So what's the difference between HBCU bands and PWI bands?
Well, I guess the main difference would be the playing style. Now understand that just like PWI bands, all HBCU bands aren't built the same, right? We all have different types of styles and things like that. But I think for the most part, most HBCU bands play with a little bit of aggression, and I think that playing style lends itself to the type of songs that we play. Because it's hard to like not play James Brown with aggression, right? But same thing for songs like Swag Surf and things like that. But I think a lot of times HBCU bands play with a little bit more aggression, and also the songs really. I think we really play to the crowd, right? So most of us will try to do the hot new stuff out right now, right? And a lot of us are able to write our own songs. We don't have to, buy songs from J.W. Pepper. We can just write it out ourselves in a day. So we like to play towards the crowd and things like that. But I guess with us, it's all about the crowd hype and participation and things like that. Like there's nothing like it. There's nothing like it.
There's really not. So let's talk about halftime shows at HBCUs. What's the beauty of those halftime shows? Because each one is different.
Yeah, I would say that halftime is definitely game time for us. I tell the students all the time, I'm like, we're there to support the football team and the teams that we play for. But when it's halftime, that's our time. Like there's nothing else going on besides the band. That's our stage, and we need to make sure we give everybody a show. So yeah, that's definitely our time to shine during the game. And it's really cool because it's something unique about HBCU bands and being in an HBCU band is that I guess like typically like a lot of PWIs, like a lot of people will leave and go get food at halftime, and at HBCUs or whenever there's an HBCU band performing for most PWIs, the crowd kind of sit there and watches this show, and that's just a heads up about how much pageantry is involved in our shows, and they're also different. Like some of us start shows with fanfares, some of us will march onto a cadence, some of us start a show with a drum major doing a back bend or a split or something. There's a lot of different cool things that HBCU bands do to kind of bring that entertainment value to halftime.
Yeah, and then I know the school that I attended, the HBCU that I attended, we would have fifth quarter. That's where everyone just stays and listens to the band. This is after the football game and after halftime and stuff. Like you cannot miss fifth quarter.
You're
Right.
So why do both school bands perform during halftime at HBCUs? That's more common at HBCUs than it is at PWIs. Why?
Well, I would say a lot. The HBCU band world, a lot of us are. It's a small but large community within a larger community. So we all kind of know each other. There's not that many degrees of separation from us at all. Either I know this band director's band director, or this band director and I went to the same school, or we met at conferences and things like that, and so we're just able to build that camaraderie amongst ourselves. I know a lot of times the band directors in different conferences will have a group chat with just them in the in that conference, and so you build a lot of camaraderie. And so you'll see a lot of times sometimes athletic directors and stuff will have stuff going on where they'll say, hey, we can only give y'all 10 minutes of halftime, right? And so you have to abide by that. Like, you might jump up and down and hoop and holler as much as you can, but you only get 10 minutes. And if you have a visiting band there, then you say, hey, look, I get 5 minutes, you get 5 minutes. Let's make this work. And a lot of times that's been my experience. We've been able to always kind of get on the field, but I think it's because we're all just kind of it's more close knit than a lot of other communities. The HBCU band director community is real close knit.
So, Eugene, with that being said, why do you particularly think that bands are so important at HBCUs?
A lot of different reasons. I think that, one, the band is the largest student organization on most campuses, and that's the way it should be. But we're also a very visible component of the university. We go out and different places, and we wear these uniforms, and we have these big shiny instruments, and we're playing this music that people like. And so, we essentially become ambassadors for the university. Some schools understand this better than others, of course, right? But you have schools that don't even have football teams sometimes, and their bands are enormous, or you have schools that might only have 1,500 or so students to go there, and they might have 300 or 400 people in the band. But that's because the administrations recognize the value that bands bring, like the recognition that the band could bring. They're coming down the street with their uniforms, and it might say the school's name on the uniform, and then they look good, they sound good, and then kids are looking at the band and saying, I want to go there, So so that's one part of it. The other part of it is because of the entertainment value that we provide to sporting events. We're there, like a lot of times, like some schools will have DJs and stuff like that, but a lot of times the students and the people at the games want to hear the band. They want to hear the band play and see what the band has to offer. And that's a big thing. And I think the final component of that is that a lot of times the band is the first thing you hear when you arrive on campus, and it's also the last thing you hear when you graduate. The band is there for your graduation, and the band is usually there for like your orientation and things like that. So it becomes a large part of the school community in a lot of different ways.
Yeah, and it also ties into our culture as well, because we love music, so that's a big part of it as well, if I had to add something. So we are doing something very fun and exciting in the Quad Cities, and Ruben and Kim, along with Lincoln University Band. So let's talk about the Band Spectacular, the Quad Cities, featuring Lincoln University. So we'll have Ruben and Kim chime in with us on that.
Well, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Well, I think, like Eugene was saying, I think the fun of this whole thing, this has never been seen in the Quad City like this. I mean, a lot of people have seen HBCUs on TV and in movies, but they're going to actually have one in the Quad City. And I expect them to come and show out, because that's what they do. You know what I mean? So I think it's going to be good for the community and for the cities, the whole Quad Cities. This is a Quad City event. with the help of the Davenport school system. But this is going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah. So, Eugene, what can we expect to hear and see from Lincoln? I know you probably don't want to showcase and tell us your show and stuff right now, but what can we expect as for especially some people? We have students who have never seen anything like this before, and as a Davenport native, you know, I graduated from North High School and I was a member of the band there, and we did military. We used, that's how we marched, military style. So what can they expect to see these students?
An entertaining show. That's what I preach to the band. You know, just entertaining from the beginning to the end. You know, I think a lot of, like, you know, just I encourage everybody to be a performer. Just like, you know, just like a Beyonce, right? You know, she's out on tour right now, so people pay a lot of money to go see her because of how much energy she gives to the crowd. And that's kind of the same thing we want to do. We want to give our energy to the crowd so that they then give it back to us. So we just want to give them a great show from top to bottom and show them that, especially the band students, that they want to be part of our band family. We want them to come and come to Lincoln and be part of what we have to offer them.
Kim, do you want to add anything?
Well, one thing I think is important too is myself, I didn't really know that much about HBCUs. I mean, I knew of them, and I've seen band performances like in movies and that sort of thing. But when I started, you know, looking into the history, and I was embarrassed that I didn't know more about them. I should have known more about them, and everybody in our, you know, community should know more about them because it's a piece of our country's educational history, and I think it's important for everybody to understand that. So what a great way to showcase HBCUs, you know, through the marching band, because music brings everybody together. I've always loved that, you know, to see people, you know, move into the music, and they might have all different backgrounds, but they all can enjoy the music together.
Right.
So I think that really is important, and I'm excited for the Quad Cities to see this marching band.
Yes, I am so excited. I cannot wait. Thank you all for joining Real Conversations today. Eugene, we are looking forward to seeing Lincoln University march here in the Quad Cities and for Band Spectacular. And when is that again?
It's October the 10th.
October 10th.
Yes.
Yes, so we are ecstatic. We cannot wait. Again, thank you all so much for joining in on Real Conversations. Eugene, thank you.
Thank you.
All righty.
Thanks for having us.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you for having us.